We started doing poll on our LinkedIn page related to your PMP exam preparation. It's like quoting a question and helping you to explore the idea. And our first question became little controversial, looks like, because there are a lot of votes, but I believe the right answer is getting less votes. So I thought I may need to explain it in more detail using this particular video. So let's look at the question and then possibly explore the answer. So this was the question which we posted on our LinkedIn page. If you are not following our LinkedIn page, you can just go and search Eisenbridge and please follow there. So here I am putting a question like, as a project manager, when the stakeholder is worried about the requirement continuously getting added throughout the project, which means that there is an agile process used and maybe a stakeholder is working in the predictive life cycle before, and he's worried that, guys, you will keep adding anything anytime, and that will cause the potentially cost overrun and wastage of company money. You should not be doing it. Yeah, that's something the stakeholder is coming up with, and very useful in case of you are implementing agile in the environment where it was not there before. So what you should do: so make a list of requirements and freeze them, talk about improving the communication management plan, tell the stakeholder to discuss the concern with the product owner, and explain the project, that why we are using Agile and how it works. Yeah, so these are the four options. So what we see in our results, the option C and D got good amount of votes. So we got around 226 votes in the last 24 hours. So I'm just taking the snapshot of it, and good number of votes were going into C and D. So looks like these are the two options which required little exploration, C and D. C talking about, why don't you go and talk to the product owner and share your concern that you are worried about keeping requirement getting added all the time. Yeah. So why don't you go there? Or let me explain how Agile works. We have a frequent meetings. These are the people who will be doing backlog refinement. So you don't have to worry. This is how the whole process works. Since we don't have a frozen requirement, that's why we are doing it. You should feel satisfied with it. Yeah, that's the option D. I personally believe the D is the right option. I created this question keeping the D as a right option in mind. I created the option C just to create the confusion and bring the close options. So I go with the option D. But looking at the vote, even I got confused. Maybe I'm putting the wrong words and the signals are not getting right. Maybe something is getting missed in the translation. So I went to ChatGPT to take a second opinion. Again, you don't have to rely on ChatGPT's answers, but it is good because 80 to 90% of the time it will find okay. So let's see what the ChatGPT has to recommend. So I asked the question, what will be the best option using these multiple choice question, and I pasted the question here as a prompt, and then ChatGPT also supported my answer. So I liked it, yeah, in a way. And it tells that, okay, this is a good option, why you should go it. And the ChatGPT has its own explanation, because making a list of requirement and freezing them is not going to be appropriate, especially you might be working in the agile environment. Communication is good, but this is not directly addressing the stakeholder concern. And have the stakeholder discuss their concern with product owner. While this is a good step, but not taking care of the requirement of continuous changing things. Yeah, it may step which get a more clarity about a specific requirement, but may not take care of continuous updates which are happening in the project. And the option D is the good, though they use a word methodology, we probably don't use it because it is something the stakeholder can understand how the requirements will get managed throughout the project. So this is just as a quick reference. Let me share my thought process behind it. That was just an extra step which I took for our thing. So my thought, going one by one. So first thing is, the stakeholder is worried. There is no specific requirement. It is not like I have this requirement, I don't understand why you are adding into the project, or I have a problem with this particular thing. If I have a specific requirement in mind, I definitely facilitate conversation with the product owner. But it is just a worry that requirements are continuously getting added. Yes, I understand. That's why we have selected Agile life cycle. And it can potentially cost overrun. Again, the word potentially. So someone comes, I see a risk in your approach because you are adding the requirement all the time. What should I do? Now, if someone is sharing a risk or issue related to the project processes, it's me. It's the project manager who should handle it. I can't tell that, why don't you go and talk to someone and that person will explain it. If it is about a particular requirement, I better send the person who is associated with that particular requirement prioritization. But this is a process matter. I must answer it. So that's a good reminder for our PMP test taker. We have a task in our PMP exam content outline to ensure I'm showing that particular task to you, to build shared understanding. Yeah, so you need to ensure that whenever the situation is happening, we go into the root cause of the misunderstanding. We ensure that there is a shared understanding about the requirement. There is a shared understanding about the priority. There is a shared understanding about the process. Looks like in this particular case, the person is not having shared understanding about the process. The person is concerned. It is not communicated well. So my first approach is explain his concern. Maybe even if I send it to the product owner can talk about this requirement or that requirement, but may not be able to explain why are we using Agile, what should we do, how frequently we should attend the meeting, what if this person is also want to get invited in the meeting. Those all is with the project manager. So that's my reason, because as a project manager, you are responsible and accountable for creating shared understanding about the process. As you fairly see, the freezing of requirement doesn't make sense. Communication is always a good idea, but I need to take care of a particular concern and myself rather than delegating it somewhere else. I know some of you may still not agree with my options. Yeah, this is just exploration. You may study your project management in a little bit more detail or differently, but this is what we believe can help you in getting, especially when you are aligned with PMP exam content outline, this kind of thinking is needed for your PMP exam success. If you are not following us on YouTube or on LinkedIn, you may want to subscribe to us so that you can get these kind of questions fast to your inbox.